So if you've been to one of the webinars before, one of my demonstrations, I don't like to do a lot of PowerPoint, so we'll keep it short with kind of setting the stage for the scenario that I'll walk through today for modernizing HR. I'll kind of go through a bit about who Cadence is, who we do business with and are partnered with, and then jump right into the HR pain points. This webinar kind of stemmed out of customer demand. We get a lot of repeat requests all the time from our prospects and customers to go through the same types of scenarios. So I thought, well, let's run it all in one webinar and get Jared to host that, and we'll go through. So just a bit about who we are. So we help North American companies struggling with digital transformation. So that's really what we do. We do projects and implementations all over North America, and we've been doing that for over 8 years and completed about 65 projects. So we are able to deliver remotely. We've delivered remotely for over 8 years. COVID really didn't change a lot in how we deliver and how we're able to service our client base. A bit about our alliances. So we're partnered with 3 major software vendors. We have OpenText. Of course, that's what you're going to see today. We're going to go through the HR processes today, as well as there's a number of different other products from OpenText. Salesforce, last month was a contract management demo. Next month will likely be an accounts payable solution demo for invoice management and invoice payments. So we've been partnered with OpenText for 8 years and really expanded the solutions we offer from OpenText. Another one of our partnerships is Microsoft. So we're partnered with Microsoft, and we do a few things there. Some are similar to OpenText, SharePoint, Teams, and the Power Apps side of things. Not one size fits all for solutions, and we have combined these, the Power Apps portal with the OpenText Power in their repository. Then the middle one there is a newer one for us. It's SAP. We're involved with vendor invoice management for SAP. We're involved with intelligent capture, and we've done some success factors things as well. So there's lots of things around content and the ability to do that. So in human resources, the same kinds of things that we get asked all the time is HR has kind of been one of those departments that's lagged a bit in the digital world. So with the ability to do eSignatures now, that's a big thing, and that really exploded, of course, over the pandemic. Digital personnel files is one that we always ran into. I started doing a lot of records management implementations that stemmed from papers and boxes and personnel files in a file folder in a file room. And that's really expanded now into, I want to do this digitally. I want to scan and dispose of the paper copy, or just set a hard cutover date and just go digital from 2021 forward, or whatever it may be. So I'll show you a bit about the digital personnel files today. Alerts for missing document types. So we've done some major HR system implementations where we've integrated with Workday or Dayforce or any of those other HR systems, and had them communicate between each other, but you still need to know which document types you have from an employee, and if they're allowed to, in this case, maybe be onboarded, or they can't go through another year of employment if they're probationary or temporary because they don't have certain training certifications or safety certifications. So there's a lot of different document types that I'll show you today as well. And then one of the scenarios that we get asked a lot is, how do I share things from the inside the organization to the outside with someone that's coming on board, but we haven't given them access to our network, we haven't given them access to a license or a system, but we want to gather content from them, and I don't want to do it via email. So those are the pain points we get frequently. The onboarding workflow I'll walk through today will be requesting a new personnel file, digitally of course, going through a bit of an internal approval for onboarding that employee, going through and collecting external documents from that employee, generating a standard employment agreement. So we have templates and agreements built into the system, sending that agreement via DocuSign out to the newly hired employee that will be onboarded shortly, and then long-term storage of all that content that's been collected from the employee, signed by the employee, and anything ongoing in their employment history. So personnel file, medical things, if you're publicly traded, there's stock options and things like that. So that's a bit about the scenario today that I'll be going through. I'll break away from the PowerPoint. I'll jump over into the system, and I'll just go to the landing page here. So if you're an OpenText customer, you've seen this before. If you haven't seen this view, definitely upgrade. If you're not, this is OpenText Content Server. This is OpenText flagship product. This is a content management system that we can use for a number of different scenarios. We've used it in education, we've used it in private sector, in energy, utilities, we've used it in municipalities, and anything and anywhere in between. So the scenario today, I'll park the general demonstration. If you are interested in that, please reach out. We can give you a more holistic overview of the system. But today we're going to focus specifically on human resources. And in human resources, I can have a little landing area for all my HR employees and anybody that needs to do anything with human resources. So this landing page can have different things like assignments here in the bottom, second tile in. We can go through and see employees by type. We got permanent, probationary, and temporary in the top right. We can go and do searches on employees based on their fields that we've captured, maybe their employment type, their first name, their last name, all this stuff's here. And we kind of crammed it all on one screen, and I shrunk the screen for the demonstration today, so it may look a little condensed. Inside of this, if we want to go through and just look at an employee file, I can have everything organized by last name, first name, employee ID, or however we like. And this can be integrated with your traditional HR system. So if we want to have this integrated with something like SuccessFactors, which comes out of the box, if you want to have this integrated with Dayforce or Workday or any others that you have, even if you've got a custom one, PeopleSoft, we're able to integrate that so that OpenText takes care of all the content and your HR system does what it does best in terms of the people management side of things. So if I go and open one of these workspaces up, I'll open, for this example, Jason Greger's workspace up. I can have the team, who their direct report is, who the HR manager is, all their employee information, which can be two-way synced with your HR system. And then I can actually have a standard document templates or document repository for each employee based on their ID. So as we add more and more employees, the IDs of course go up. We're able to set status on this, and we're able to track and permission all of these locations independently. So I can say that only certain managers get access to the termination folder, and only HR gets access to the onboarding information. So you can permission this all a number of different ways, but that's really the way the system is designed here. To jump over to the onboarding scenario, and I'll just check the chat quickly here. I'm going to go through and onboard a new employee. So the first thing we need to do again is request that employee file for that digital workspace. So there's a number of workflows in the system. We can configure these. This isn't customizing. This isn't coding. You don't need to be a techie to do this kind of stuff. It's very high level. So we have a form for onboarding an employee. So we're going to onboard this employee. We're going to be required to fill out certain information. If we don't want to do it this way and we want to hook this into another system, this is done automatically for you. So this is not a mandatory step, but it can be done manually if you like. So we have a number of different employee types. We can pick their direct report from the system. So I'm just going to pick John. We can put in their ID, last name and first name. Any departments, and all this stuff can be looked up dynamically, of course, from other systems. Email addresses, I'm just going to use our demo one here so I can show you some of the functionality. Locations, say Leon is in Los Angeles. If we want to do any immigration or relocation properties around this, so they're not an immigrant and they're not relocating, and anything else we want to do. If we're doing records management on this, we can use these properties and these metadata fields to do dispositioning of the employee file, post-employment, post-retirement, post-dismissal, whatever you like. So I'm going to start this. It's going to go through and it's going to create that employee folder for Leon. So in here, if we go check employee files, we see a new employee folder for Leon. We can see right now we're missing 9 document types. It does that check. Leon cannot come on board until we have all of these. Can't enter the building or work from home. And we can see that our standard document template is all here as well. So this is now ready for internal approval. We can start to send this through the internal cycles of somebody helping us out in collecting those documents from Leon, who's sitting at home waiting for employment. I'm going to skip screens here and just log in as a different user. So I'm now logged in as Michelle. You can see that up here. Michelle is given a workflow assignment, and Michelle is given a workflow assignment to help onboard Leon. So she has a task here and some instructions. So she has to go collect the required documents. Once they're collected, potentially move them, classify them, and click yes for the documents received in this piece of the form. So Michelle's able to see everything around this workflow, that John's the report, that we have a workspace for Leon already, and any past activities that have started with the workflow as well. So what happens on the outside for Leon is if we go to an email box, Leon is actually given a link to an area that says, please go put all your documentation here. So what we're able to do is Leon's given this link and he's able to upload and contribute those documents. So we've asked for two things. We've asked for a resume, a current copy, and we've asked for a drug test form. So we've sent Leon off for a drug test. He has those documents here. He's going to drop them in. What's actually going to happen is these documents are going to be synced from this publicly facing portal, which is through the OpenText cloud called Core, back to the document management system. So if we jump into Leon's onboarding folder, we can see that this employee collected documents folder is shared. Inside of this folder, we now have two items. These are uploaded by Leon from the outside. And these are now in our repository. If we want to sever the cord and cut the share off, we're able to do that. If we want to proceed in the workflow, Michelle has the ability to do that, to say yes. Now our documents have been received and onboarded, and we can carry on. As these documents come in the door, what you can actually do is you can classify these. So I showed that there was 9 missing documents. You'll see that up here as well. You can apply a classification to the resume and say, yes, we've received Leon's resume. And in his resume, we'll have a classification, or in the system, we'll have a classification for his resume. And it's going to complete one of those document types. You can do the same thing for the drug test. And these can be done automatically and received differently as well. If we want the system to do some of these things, that's all possible. These are all our document types that we have to collect pre-onboarding. So when we go back here, we can now see we have 7 missing document types. We can send off further notifications and workflows to others and start to enable our ability to make sure we have a complete employee file before we bring Leon into the building. So the next step in the workflow of onboarding Leon is getting him an employee agreement to sign. So we actually want to go through and generate an employee agreement, and we've done that out of the box with one of the templates that we have in the system. So we can go and look at this, wrong button. We can go ahead and say we're going to attach a standard agreement. And we can set this to another reviewer. So I'm actually just going to set this to myself so we don't have to log in and out as everybody. And send this one on. We're saying we have the standard employee agreement. Is this okay to send to Leon? Please send this forward internally for a further review. As we look at this agreement, we can edit it. We can use the Microsoft Word Online functionality. You see we have our standard agreement. Any edits we make here will be done and versioned instantly. And if we want to inject this document with placeholders, say we want the salary, the term of employment, whatever we can, all that can be done here. For the folks that have been around a little while like me, that's basically a glorified mail merge now done by the system where you can do this en masse. I'm going to approve this, say this looks good. We're sending out the standard agreement, and we're going to proceed to getting this over to Leon for DocuSign. So I keep refreshing this My Assignments area here, and this is where all the things that I have to do are residing in the system. Now, this is my DocuSign preparation screen. I have this employment agreement we're going to send out to Leon. I have a signing order. So if this is going to multiple people, let's say it's not an onboarding scenario, but you want to send a contract out and it goes to these people first, and those people have to sign after the first folks, you can set your signing order here for that. So I'm going to send this out to Leon Smithson. We're going to use our demo email address. And we're going to proceed. What this is going to do is prompt us via DocuSign to go ahead and place where we want the signature, the initials, the dates, and all that other stuff. So this is our integration with DocuSign. I'm going to say I'd like the first page initial, second page initialed, third page signed, and the date it was signed. So this is our preparation step. If we want to automate this even further, of course we can, but this is kind of the bare bones way to demonstrate this today. I'm going to send this on. This is now going from OpenText to DocuSign. DocuSign is going to send an email off to Leon and say, hey, Leon, you have something to sign. I think we've all used DocuSign a lot in the past year here. So I go back to our demo inbox. I can see that we have a document to sign. Leon, please sign this employment agreement document. We can log in to DocuSign. Don't have to log in, but we can open DocuSign, click start, and then of course it walks us through where to initial. We're going to use their default select a signature. We're not going to draw our signature, upload one. Initial, sign, and the date's automatically inputted there. So what comes out of this from a workflow side of things is we finish this. We've done that outside to inside interaction twice now, once for document collection, once for DocuSigning. We finish this. This is going to go forward and go back to the system as an internal user. And DocuSign and OpenText talk every about 15 minutes. So at about 10:30 my time, that will go through. But like any good cooking show, we have one already completed, and we'll kind of show you what that looks like here. This was one that was done yesterday for Jason. And once it's actually completed and signed, you're actually going to see the certificate of completion as well as the employee agreement template, both in your workflow and ready for storage. In the workflow, you can track when it was sent to DocuSign, when it was signed, and when it was brought back into the system as well. So you have that entire chain of custody from start to finish on brokering that signature transaction, and it's still housed in your content management system. You're complete control. You're in the driver's seat the entire way from document collection all the way down to signature, and it's audited the entire way as well. You can see everything in the activities feed as to when everything was done with this workflow, who's completed it, what time. If you want to get really particular, you can measure metrics. Certain people are quicker at things than others. All of it's timestamped here and available for you. If we go back into our HR area and we look at an employee file that's more complete, we can see we have the certificate of completion from DocuSign. Just grab that. This is the signature that went through yesterday. Your full audit trail of everything, some legalese from DocuSign as well. In addition to, we're able to actually go through and rename documents, last name, comma, first name, and then putting a date or a document type around it as well. So if you want to go in here and do a quick reference back to something for, in this case, Dustin, I want to see his employee agreement, you can do that. If you want to do filtering and sorting and that kind of thing, and you don't like a folder structure, you can say, just show me all documents from the left-hand side. I'll show you everything that you have for a document from Dustin. So you have 2 resumes right now. The little share icon here are the ones that Dustin contributed from the outside share. And if you want to jump to a folder, employee collected documents, you can do that as well. Higher level, if you want to roll up to that employee files area, you can search, filter, and sort in this area by any of those metadata fields that we've tracked. So all those ones that we entered on the form, we can say, show me everybody from Los Angeles. We can filter that down. We have 3 employees there. We can say, show me everybody that's active and in Los Angeles, which would be all 3 of these as well. You can see all the columns here that you can sort and filter by. That's a bit about resolving some of the HR pain points in the digital world. So I'll open it up for any questions via chat or raising a hand, and just let me know, and I'll answer them now. If not, we will wrap up. So looks like nothing coming in yet. So I'll tease the next upcoming webinars. We have one up and coming on student records. We're going to go through digital student records. And then in August, we're going to go through one on accounts payable automation. So that's invoices coming in all the way from a paper or scanned copy or a digital copy back to the payment and workflow approval side with 3-way matching and PO and non-PO processes. So if there's no more questions, we'll wrap it up. Thank you everybody for joining today, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.